So hi guys, so it's another video and this time I'll be discussing something for the high school students, and I believe this is one of the most important lesson, especially for algebra. And what is that? So today we will be talking about laws of exponent, okay? So this time I'll be discussing five different laws of exponent. So the first one is the product rule, followed by the quotient rule, and then we have the power rule, and also I'll be discussing about the zero and negative exponents. So let's not make it longer. Let's start learning laws of exponent. Go! Under the laws of exponent, the product rule states that to multiply when two bases are the same, we just simply copy the base and add the exponent. Okay, so let's use 2 squared times 2 cubed. Basically, they have the same bases, which is 2, so we just have to copy them. According to product rule, in multiplying numbers with same bases, all we have to do with the exponent is to simply add them. So for our exponent, that will be 2 plus 3. And that will give us 2 raised to 5. Since 2 raised to 5 could still be simplified, now let's find the value of 2 raised to 5, which means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And that is equivalent to 32. How about our second example? We have here x raised to 5 times x raised to 8. Again, copy the same base and add our exponent. So we have 5 plus 8. 5 plus 8 will give us 13. Therefore, our final answer now is x raised to 13. Now let's try our last example. We have a cubed b times a raised to 9, b raised to 6. In our last example, we have two different variables, but we just have to add the exponent of our common or same bases. So we have here a cubed and a raised to 9. So for the variable a, our exponent would be 3 plus 9. And for our variable b, we have b, then as you could see, this is b raised to 1. Therefore, that's 1 plus 6. Okay, simply add them. Therefore, for our a, the exponent would be 3 plus 9 equals 12. And for b, the exponent would be 1 plus 6 equals 7. Therefore, the product of a cubed b times a raised to 9 b raised to 6 is equal to a raised to 12 b raised to 7. And that's it. Next, for the quotient rule, it states that to divide when two bases are the same, we copy the same base and this time we subtract the exponents. Okay, so now let's have some example on how to do quotient rule. Remember, as always, in following the laws of exponent, make sure that you apply it only for the exponent of those same bases. For quotient rule, what we're going to do with the exponent is we will have to subtract the exponent from the numerator minus the exponent on the denominator. So we have here 3 raised to 8 over 3 raised to 5. Again, since they have the same bases, copy the base and subtract our exponent. Numerator exponent minus the denominator's exponent. Now we have 3 raised to 8 minus 5, which is equal to 3 raised to 3 or 3 cubed. But this is not yet our final answer because we could still simplify 3 raised to 3, which means 3 times 3 times 3. And that is equal to 27. How about for our second example? We have same base of x and subtract the exponent from the numerator minus the denominator's exponent. So we have here x raised to 9 minus 3. And that will give us an answer of x raised to 6. Now let's move to our last example. How about a cubed b raised to 6 over a squared b? Same process. Again, copy the base, which is a, and the exponent on the numerator is 3, minus the exponent on the denominator of a, which is 2. And for our b, raised to the exponent of b on the numerator minus the exponent of b on the denominator, which is 1. So now we have a raised to 3 minus 2 is equal to a raised to 1, or just simply a. Now, for b, we have b raised to 6 minus 1, and that is equivalent to b raised to 5. And that's it. Again, for quotient rule, subtract the exponent of those numbers or variables with same bases. And that's it. Thank you. How about for power rule? Power rule states that to raise a power to another power, we copy the same base, but this time we multiply the exponents. Okay, so now let's move to the third law of exponent, which is the power rule. In here, as you could observe, we have an exponent which is raised again with another exponent. So that's how you could easily identify whether you have to apply the power rule. In the power rule, all we have to do is to multiply the exponents. Okay, so let's have example number 1. We have here 2 squared quantity raised to 4. So as I have mentioned, all we have to do is to multiply our exponents. We will write here 2 raised to 2 times 4. And that is equal to 2 raised to 8. But again, since it's a whole number raised to an exponent, we have to simplify it. So 2 times 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 2 is equal to 256. Okay, so now let's move to our second example. A raised to 9 times 3. That is equal to a raised to 27. Okay, so how about for example number 3? As you can see, we have a numerical coefficient and 2 variables. All we have to do for example number 3 is to distribute the exponent outside. The exponent 4 here should be distributed. So meaning we have to multiply 4 to the exponent of 3, x, and y. So now let's do it. So we have 3 raised to 1 times 4, x and its exponent, which is 1, times 4 also, and y raised to 2 times 4. Now let's simplify them. We have 3 raised to 4, x 1 times 4 is 4, and y 2 times 4 is 8. But again, as you can see, we have here a whole number with an exponent, therefore we have to simplify that. We have to continue simplifying it. So 3 raised to 4 is equal to 81. X raised to 4, y raised to 8. Okay, so now let's have more example about the power rule. As you can see on my next set of examples, we have rational examples. So what about if it's 2 over 3 quantity raised to 2? So same, we just have to distribute our exponent 2 to our numerator and denominator coefficients by multiplying it to their exponents. So we have here 2 raised to 1 times 2 over 3 raised to 1 times 2 as well. And that will give us 2 squared over 3 squared. Since both of them are whole numbers with exponents, we could still simplify them. And that will give us 2 squared, which is equivalent to 4, and 3 squared, which is equivalent to 9. And that's it. Okay? So what about our second example? So we have here x, y raised to 4 all over 4z cubed quantity raised to 2. So as you could see, the whole expression is raised to 2 or has been squared. So meaning, we have to multiply 2 to the exponents of all of the coefficients inside the parentheses or the grouping symbol. So it means we have to multiply 2 to the exponent of x, y, 4, and z.
So now let's start doing that. So we have here x raised to 1 times 2, y raised to 4 times 2, all over 4 raised to 1 times 2, and z raised to 3 times 2. And that will give us x squared y raised to 8 all over 4 squared z raised to 6. Again, we could still simplify our answer because of the 4 squared here. So now let's do that. So we have x squared y raised to 8 all over 4 squared is equivalent to 16 and z raised to 6. And that's it. That will be our final answer.